Hey, good morning, Marian LaSalle.
Good morning, Mr. Johns. How are you?
I'm better than average, better than average. Did you have a wonderful Christmas?
Oh, did I ever? I'm still basking in it. I
Oh,
really
that's
am.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So today's the day after Christmas 2017, and we're here today to talk about marketing ideas that work. And one of the things that we wanted to talk about today is something we're both passionate about is relationship marketing and how we're going to proceed with this show going forward in 2018. And and I want to have Marian talk about the relationship marketing and what we're going to be moving toward in 2018. And then what we want to do is come back and talk about what we're going to do with the show to help produce results in relationship marketing. So Marian, you did a wonderful blog post this last week, and I wanted to have you kind of walk us through that and some of the reasons behind that and what's taken place in in our environment here today.
Okay. Well, it all started when Russ and one of our salespeople and I went to the NRG Center here in Houston for the Build Expo. And we saw over 270 vendors, and only 3 of them followed up with us. And we literally went to every single booth between the 2 days, right?
Yeah.
And so we got to talking about how people just don't follow up, and we don't follow up like we should, and all that stuff happened. And that's how this whole thing started about relationship marketing. And I finally figured it out, Russ. Most
You
people
did.
do not want to follow up because it feels icky. It feels like they're being a salesperson, and nobody wants that. Well, I take that back. There are some people who love to be a salesperson. I
Yeah.
actually love to sell, but I don't like to push. I don't want to push it on anybody, or I don't want it to seem like I'm selling you something you don't really need.
Yeah.
So I I and my team have decided that we are going to make sure that this relationship marketing feels good, looks good, acts good, you know, makes it to heaven.
Yeah.
Literally, Santa Claus is going to bring them all the things that they want instead of coal, because
No more coal.
uh, and it just really feels good. It for 2018 to be on this path of relationship marketing, to me, just
Right.
feels fantastic. So that's how it all started, and it has grown from there. So of course, when you buy a red car, you see a red car everywhere. Now that
Right.
we have decided on relationship marketing is the way to go for us, I'm seeing it everywhere.
Yeah.
People are talking about it on YouTube, and people are doing Facebook Lives, and it's all about the relationships.
Well, we had this conversation a while ago, and there's so much. I mean, there's more content being created every single day than anyone could possibly consume. And what happens is, what I see is to get better SEO, you got to create this fabulous, phenomenal content and share it out because if it's good enough, other people will share it out. Well, and that's accurate. I believe that, and I want to create great content, and I want to create better content tomorrow. However, if you actually have a relationship with your audience and you're actually pursuing that relationship on a regular basis, you're nurturing that relationship, you're talking, you're having conversations with people. To me, that is less aggressive and more involved with the relationship than you are selling, because if somebody knows, likes, and trusts you and they need your product, or they know somebody that needs your product, you're going to be top of mind to, be in front of that question. Can you do this for me? Right. You don't have to wait for it. You just have to be available to respond to that request for your service. And that's what relationships are all about, is how can I help you? It's not what can I sell to you? It's how can I help you? How can I be of service?
And that's why the blog post that I wrote this week is right up that alley, because I was looking at it from our perspective for a long time. You and I both. It was our perspective because we didn't know any other perspective. We didn't do any surveys. We didn't ask any questions. We just thought we knew what people wanted because we wanted it. It was from our perspective. So when I started looking at the relationship marketing and seeing it from a client's perspective, or someone who wants to buy products or needs our services, looking at it from their perspective, boy, it was totally different. Yeah. And I didn't know that because I was seeing it from my perspective.
Right.
So the more I dig into this, the better it gets, Russ, the better it gets.
Well, and for anyone that wants to have a takeaway from this show is that, surveys are a great way to get information. Ask questions, talk to your audience. I'm a huge fan of email. We'll be emailing people in 2018 and providing valuable information. And I think it's reaching out to more people authentically, don't you?
Not only reaching out to them, but communicating with them in their style. So we talk about this all the time. People who listen to our show or watch us online, they probably heard this 100 times, but it's worth saying it again. If you're using jargon or you're in your bubble and you're just talking to your coworkers, I'm guilty all the time. Exactly. You can't see it from your client's perspective. So you have to reach out. So some of the things that I wrote in the blog post, and I'll put the link in to the chat room here so you can go and see it. It's called See Your Business from Your Client's Perspective. Just think about the first thing that comes to mind is, to me, your eye. Okay. So if I say eye, what do you think of? You think of an eyeball? Do you think of the letter I? Are you thinking of this beautiful creation eye that your graphic designer made? Is it cursive eye? Is it? There's so many different things that you could be talking about when you just say the word I. Doesn't that bring up a big possibility here that people can misunderstand what you're saying because you're talking in your jargon or you're talking in your bubble talk? That's really what I wanted to hone in on. So when Russ talks about, doing surveys, it's really easy to do a survey, but you do have to think about it now. You have to come up with questions. So in this blog post, let me put it in the... I
put it in there.
Oh, you already did.
Yeah. I put the link in there. Is that what you wanted?
I did. I not only put some questions in that you might want to ask your audience or your prospects, but I also put an example in, which I think is really great because I love examples. If you could just show me one time instead of telling me a bunch of stuff, I learn faster. So if you'll go and click on that link, you'll see that not only do I have some information that you could use to ask questions, but also from our perspective, what we're looking for, answers to questions. So we did a quick survey of our people, and here are the 4. We only asked 4 questions. How are you communicating with your prospects today? Do you know how many touches you need with your prospects before they make a decision to hire you or move on? They might not want to hire. They might want to just move on to somebody else. How many hours do you spend nurturing your prospects every week? Do you know? What is your favorite way to evaluate products and services? So if you think about why we asked those questions, it was really to get an idea of how we move forward in 2018. If everybody that responds says they like to get their information through videos, well, guess what? We're going to be doing more videos.
Well, and we can ask repeated questions in different ways to kind of balance that answer out. Because if you ask me 1 week the question, and you ask me 3 weeks from now, I might give you a different answer. So you have to understand what the bulk of the audience wants. Also you have to balance that out with what you can provide, right? Because we can't be all things to all people and provide all this information. We still have to kind of say, okay, well, what's the majority of the people want? And there's always going to be the exception to the rule, right? So how do you get around that? How do you apply those tactics or those systems to the general public versus the unique individual?
Okay, so are you asking me a question, or are you opening up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm opening up the question. It's like, how do you apply this connection and this communication with the survey? There's going to be somebody that's always going to be, it's like the bell curve, right? In the school, and how do you actually define what you're going to do from the information that you receive? That's a question to you, Marian. How do you process this information yourself personally?
Well, if you're asking a question, how do you like to receive your marketing information? How do you make decisions when you're looking at companies that have products and services that you want to buy? And your audience tells you they all want video, and you're not equipped to do video, then yeah, you've got some planning to do. You've got to reach out to some partners, or you have to learn how to do videos.
Right.
And do they want live videos, or do they want to see it whenever they want to see it? Do they want to come to you in a live, like physically live place, or do they want to see you on Zoom, on a Zoom video chat? There's so many questions you could ask of your audience, but you have to be prepared when they tell you the truth.
Right.
Give them what they want. And I think what you're saying is, do we pay attention to each individual, or do we look at the group as a whole?
Yeah, that's my question.
People, if you do a survey and only 2 people answer,
you take care of one and I'll take care of the other one. No, it's I guess the dialogue the kind of idea that I wanted to plant for anyone watching this is, there are a lot of ways that you will come to a conclusion about what you need to do next, right? There's always going to be new information. There's always going to be different things to try, different things to test. And in 2018, 2017, we've now completed almost 40 shows, correct? And before that, we were doing Blab, right?
I miss Blab.
I know we miss Blab. So the whole evolution of our program, every Tuesday, we've been doing this pretty steady now, right? And so, and not with, and I want to make sure that everybody's aware that we love doing this. We love helping people. We love offering this information up. And we do a lot of this show because we want to share things with you. And it's not like we're YouTube famous or anything like that, right? A lot of people still have no idea that we do this show every week. And we really have not put a lot of effort in promoting this. And so in 2018, we're going to take, because people are interested in video, people are interested in having a relationship. So what we want to do is we want to expand this show to YouTube and a podcast, so you can actually access the show as many places as you want, correct? So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing in 2018 that's different than 2017. Marian?
Okay. Well, the first thing is that we're going to stay away from information overload. We're going to be very specific about what we're offering. We're going to be very specific about how we can help you. We're going to be very specific about the information that we give you. Because if you get too much information and you have too many questions and too many things to think about, then you don't do anything. So we want to make sure that that's the first thing that we offer this year. 2018, we're turning over a new leaf. We're not doing information overload anymore.
Define that. Define information. How describe what that looks like to the person that doesn't, because to me that sounds a little jargony, information overload.
Okay. So like I was on a webinar yesterday. It was a 2-hour webinar. It literally could have been 15 minutes. And it went on for 2 hours.
Oh, no.
And the only reason why I stayed on was because if you didn't stay on to the end, you didn't get whatever prize he was giving you at the end.
Right.
But you'll get distracted. You'll get disconnected. You'll lose your train of thought. You'll start thinking about other things. Come on. You don't need 15 minutes worth of information over a 2-hour period. That is just overload. It's just overload.
Yeah,
it's just
okay.
too much information. Not enough bullet points, step by step.
And I think a lot of people, don't you agree that a lot of people are just saying, hey, just tell me how to do it, right? I've heard that for myself, because I have a tendency to ramble on and get distracted, say, you can do it this way, or you can do it this way, or here's another way you could do it. You decide what you want to do, and everybody's going, just Russ, tell me what I need to do next, right?
So I think what you could do instead of explaining all the different ways that we can do things is you could say, okay, there's the cheap way, there's the expensive way, and then there's a quick way, so you do have a choice. There's so many choices now with modern technology.
Oh, it's amazing. And, I always love discovery, right? I'm going to go find out different ways of doing things, right?
Right. But if you're an expert at anything, if you're promoting products or services, what they're coming to you for is what they don't know. So you've got to give them a choice. Do you want the long and drawn out, and I'll explain every little detail to you? Or do you want the quick and easy way, and I'll just tell you what to do?
Yeah.
So there still may be choices on that. Like if you want to tell me what to do, okay, well, can you do it a cheap way and an expensive way? Or, it's just choices.
That would be a great survey. Okay, here's a subject. Do you want to do it? Do you want a long explanation or a short explanation? Then they can select that. Do you want an expensive solution or do you want an inexpensive solution? And then they make a choice on that, and then you have a tutorial based on that information.
Well, think about it. When first I was introduced to Twitter, I was flipped out. I have to blah 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 this full sentence. I was taught how to make a long sentence, and get all the information in there. And then all of a sudden Twitter says, "Oh no, you have to do it in 140 characters. You have to say the same thing you just said in a paragraph in 140 characters." And so it taught me really well how to get my point across with very few words. Yeah. So I can do that. I can expand it out and really explain to you every step of the way, or I can make it Twitter short.
Yeah.
I say most people want Twitter short. Okay. Most people want Twitter short. They don't want to know all the other stuff.
No, cut the embroidery and get to the point. Right.
Right. Get to the point. Let's step by step.
Get to the point. Just tell me what I need to do.
Right.
So in 2018, I think what I hear you saying is we're going to narrow our focus in the message, and while at the same time broadcasting it to more audience.
There you go. And we're going to have deeper conversations. We're going to go.
Is that Twitter short?
That's Twitter short. Thank you. And we're going to go down deep. We're not going to do surface everywhere. We're going to have these relationships that mean something.
Inch wide, a mile deep.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
So here's another strategy that we want to express, because not only have we done a show every single week this year, we've also created a blog post, right? And so what we want to do, I think,
and a newsletter. Every week, a newsletter.
Yeah, newsletter. So we have a newsletter, we have a blog post, and we have a show. And so I think what one thing that, based on this strategy of an inch wide, a mile deep, is we can take all three of those and focus on a single subject, and then take that subject and go in a little greater detail by using those three options. Don't you think?
Well, the newsletter basically is that it does tell people where they can access our show. It does have the blog post in it, but it also has a few other little surprises.
Yeah, nuggets of knowledge, right?
Yeah, like what's December is National Something Day or National Something Month.
Right.
We always find something fun to highlight at the top of our newsletter. And then we always have one of our clients on there that we're highlighting. So I think that's basically what the newsletter is. It's everything that they can do, including our local and non-local places where they can come and check us out, like networking events, pop-up parties, things like that.
Right. Things that are taking place, right?
Right.
Yeah. So pay attention to those changes, because it's going to be important that we actually help along the way, and sign up for our newsletter. There's no reason why. I know, you can get a ton of information in a single email that provides you with all the links and everything that you need and the resources that you need to have in order to, create some marketing ideas that work, And if you don't have a newsletter or you don't have an email list and you need some help with it, you know who to call. You know who to talk to, right?
That's right.
Marian will talk to you about that.
Darn right I will.
I'll help you build it.
Darn right.
So, what are some other things that in the last newsletter about relationship marketing that we want to talk about before we wrap up the show today? Goals of 2018 and
in the newsletter, you mean?
Yeah, let's kind of create this idea about what else is going to take place in 2018.
Oh, okay. So in 2018, the relationship marketing plans that we have, I'll let you explain it, because I think. Yeah, I think that you have a better idea. You're more of above looking down on the whole picture than I am.
Yeah, well, I could tell you one thing, and we've already talked about it a little bit. Let's recap on this, because I really see, and it's becoming clear as we go through this process, Marian, is I love the idea. And for those that don't know, Marian and I, I'm in Arizona, she's in Texas, and we really work well together by doing things we love. There are certain things that I love to do that just Marian has no interest in, and there's things that Marian has interest in that I just have no desire to. If I can hand it off, I'll hand it off, right? And I think that we'll see more of that in 2018 as we proceed into the year. And we really want to get very focused, and we want to share this information with you as well, but we want to get very focused on the content that we're creating and a way to implement the content that we're creating. So a lot of things that we've created, in 2017, we'll sit down and we'll just create a blog post on what's on our mind, or what's taken place that week or something that is of interest to us, and we'll just knock a blog post out it, and it's good. We've put out some great information, and if you haven't looked at those blog posts, you should go back and check some out. And there's great information, I believe. There's a lot of great information, and a lot of it is from people that have asked us questions. How do you do A, B, and C? Right? Okay, well, we'll write a blog post about it, and then we'll send them the blog post link. And what I would like to see in 2018 is that we're being very strategic about that. We're telling people what they're going to learn. We're going to teach them, and then we're going to tell them what we told them, right? So as we write a blog post, it's going to be very strategic on a topic. Then we're going to do a show, and we're going to do all of this information around that certain subject, and then we can share that every single week and then broadcast that out and promote each show, each episode of, our podcast, our YouTube channel, our blog post, our newsletter. And each week it will be consistent with a certain subject. And we're going to have a planning session this week. Marian and I are going to plan out our calendar. There's always going to be something that comes up, but our editorial calendar, which I think I encourage everybody to think about, is let's take a subject and develop that subject over a number of weeks to where we can actually really get some solid information and help a lot of people with that subject. And we could do that 12 times every month or 12 times a year, and take every month and develop a subject out to a fully developed idea, concept, implementation, delivery, how to do something. And I think that's something that we're going to be talking about. Marian and I are going to be talking about this week on our strategy for 2018. So something to think about. And if you don't want to think about it, you don't want to do it, follow us.
That's what I was just going to say. If I had it to do all over again, I've been doing this type of work for 20 some odd years. And if I had it to do all over again, I would have found somebody that I could either partner with or that I could hire that would just either teach me like down and dirty, let's get it done, or that I could just hire and they would do it for me, because I wasted a lot of time trying to learn and do everything myself.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I would have stopped myself, literally, because I'm in a way, I'm kind of like Russ, where new things really excite me, Yeah. Oh my God, we're starting we have a YouTube channel, but we're actually starting to really focus on YouTube. We're starting an iTunes podcast, and we're going to focus on that, growing our relationships, not just pushing it out to anybody and hoping it'll stick, throwing the spaghetti noodles, as they say, on the wall. We're going to be more specific. And if I had it to do over again, I certainly would. If I had someone like Russ and Marian who could help me either figure it out or do it for me, I would have.
Well, it accelerates your information. If you've already talked to somebody that's gone through that, been there, done that, it makes it so much easier to process that information. And you say, okay, what's the next step?
Right.
What's the next step?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just something to think about for 2018. And I'm just super excited, Marian, about the idea of, okay, we've done this, we've dabbled in a few things, and we've tested a lot of other things. And, follow-up leads is our, principal product. It's a focus, and it feeds our relationship marketing skills, right? Because all of these things that we've done over the last 20 years have actually been coming together for this to happen. I agree. And, we can always say coulda, shoulda, woulda. However, sometimes you need to go through that process in order to accomplish the goal that is really important for you, right?
Well, what I'm saying is they don't have to. They can take it from us.
Yeah.
We'll teach you in this amount of time what it took us 20 years to learn.
Yeah.
And
Because
we love
small hinges swing big doors, right?
Right. That's right.
I'm just a small hinge, but I can help you swing your doors.
Yes,
Right?
you can.
Yeah. So those are some things to consider, think about, and build your 2018 with a focus in mind, a strategy, and the tools that you need. And when you have questions and you need help, you know who to call. Marian LaSalle.
I'm going to put my phone number in there right now.
Put your phone number in there. Because we actually have, and then what we're going to be doing is we'll get very strategic about, now that we've practiced on this for a year, we're going to get very strategic about our strategies and our methods. And I think also it would be really valuable, because of the way we do this, it would be very valuable for us to do a show, maybe have some guests on our show.
I would love that.
So
I would love that.
We'll have to think about that and how that's going to play out. Sound good?
I would love that, Russ. I love having guests on.
Well, and that's a great way of asking questions to the people we need answers from, right?
Yeah.
Accelerate our education.
Yeah. Well, this has been a wonderful 30 minutes with you. It's Marketing Ideas at Work with Russ Johns and Marian LaSalle. We're here every week from 11 to 11:30 Central Time. And what's your time again, Russ?
Well, since we're not on daylight savings time, it's 10 to 10:30 currently.
10 to 10:30 Arizona time.
Arizona time.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And so you can track us down on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, whatever your favorite social channel is. Most of all, at agency258.com, and get on the newsletter and subscribe and get updates on a weekly basis. And as we expand this out, we'll also share our other locations with you.
And let me help you with your follow-up. I really want to help you with your follow-up, because nobody's doing it.
Nobody's doing it.
Nobody's doing it right. So let us help you. We're eager.
All right, Marian, have a fantastic day, and we'll be in touch. We'll see you soon. Got it.
Bye.